Well, welcome to the Post Sunday app. Thank you for joining us today on this video. You told me before we started here, we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
Today.
We do.
So you're expanding on 3 John.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, excuse me. I just
Go
need
ahead.
we shook hands earlier. I wanted to make sure.
This is a social comment on my...
This was a gift yesterday.
Very nice.
Some hand sanitizer, as we talked about hospitality, and one of my application. We're talking through expressions of love for each other, and I mentioned that I'm a little uncomfortable telling people not to shake hands. It's been suggested. You probably had the suggestion too. People have said, "Why don't we stop shaking hands?" I'm like, I get it. I understand why you might feel that way, but there's this idea that we're part of a family, and family shows love. Different expresses it different ways. One of the ways is shaking hands. So some people said, because they know my issues, they actually re-gift us the hand sanitizer we gave them at Mother's Day.
Yeah, so very nice.
So I had several people.
Several even. Okay. Well, that's great. That's great. Well, it was a great sermon. I actually, as I was standing at the south doors, so we walked by, heard someone say, that was just really good, because I think it was just very practical. You backed up from 3 John 5 through 8, gave a broader view than just what that passage gives on hospitality. You got through 9 points, which was impressive.
Yes. Yeah.
Very impressive.
And a bunch of practical suggestions beyond that.
Yes.
I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but
yeah.
It was and our day didn't start off that great too, Ben. You know, we had, I think almost everyone on staff, I think, was just having kind of a rough Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I didn't feel at the end of the sermon, I didn't feel like I had communicated clearly everything that I wanted to, but God was gracious, and hopefully this is a message on hospitality that our church is able to take and expand on in the coming weeks and months. Yeah. As we think about what it looks like to care for each other.
Yeah. One of the things that our care group talked about was the freeing sense that came from you talking about your home doesn't have to be perfect in order to be hospitable. And
the
maybe
kids really paid attention.
Maybe some children really perked up at that point, saying, "I've been told to clean my room when someone's coming over."
Right.
Pastor Daniel said.
Yeah. Hold on. My wife has some notes for me here.
Okay.
Something about children still need to honor their parents here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I appreciate the kids listening. Mm-hmm. Good job, kids, from our church. But they really honed in on this idea that my house doesn't have to be clean. I think my exact words, we'll have to roll tape on this, but I think my words were, don't clean your house perfectly. I think I added that extra perfectly. And the idea there is that sometimes people make this idea that their houses have to be so clean that it paralyzes them from doing ministry, or 2, takes a lot of the joy out of ministry, or 3, it can make a person intimidated. They come over to your house and it's so clean, they're like, man, I could never have someone over because my house isn't this clean. They're kind of intimidated, or they feel like they can't be comfortable in your home. But I didn't mention this, but I have definitely had the opposite experience too, where things have just been so chaotic and messy that it's hard to feel comfortable in that environment as well.
Yeah, I think that's the right word. That people would feel comfortable. And even just safe. I don't want to leave a power drill out for the kids to play with in the basement, that type of thing. So I think any statement that someone would say, but Daniel, shouldn't I also do this? I think you would say, well, you should make it safe and comfortable. I think principally, if you can't get that dust rag to every end table, we're okay.
So be it, right?
That type of thing. So
for some people, it's part of some people love cleaning, and for them it's honoring a guest, and there's nothing wrong with honoring your guests, but the point is, don't become so obsessed with everything being perfect that you can't just enjoy ministry.
And that's that other phrase that maybe some of the kids perked up on too, was drop dead.
Yes.
So apply the sermon, drop dead. You checked your notes more closely to see if that's exactly how it was phrased.
I meant to say die to self.
Die to self, and you clarified that. But that is part of hospitality, and part of this issue of perfection in the home.
Yeah.
That if I am dying to self, I'm not thinking of, will I be perceived wrongly if my home isn't perfect?
Right.
But it's saying that person is more important than what I think their perception of me would be.
Yeah, it's this overarching principle of dying to self, because it's dying to myself in the sense of my shyness. A lot of us are more introverted and shy, and so as we think about ourselves, it's hard for us to imagine putting ourselves out there and risking relationship. It's dying to self in terms of, some of us love our free time and the idea of people coming to my home and who knows how long they'll stay and what they're going to do and what they're going to mess up. And just die. It's time to die to self, and that's a word, of course, to me first, and then to others.
Yeah, it was interesting that my wife mentioned at the start of our care group, which was right after church. She said, it's somewhat intimidating to host a care group right after a sermon on hospitality.
I'm sure she did awesome.
So
we've always felt comfortable.
We love our care group, and they were very gracious and said, "Oh, you guys do great," and just encouraging her, but yeah, it was very very encouraging sermon. And like you said, we hope in the future that this becomes just the culture of our church. That the idea of having fellow believers over, having people who don't share our faith, neighbors, coworkers, families on our sports teams or scholastic bowl teams, have them in our homes too. That's
good. And so I guess there'd be two things. One I forgot to say when I was re-emphasized. First is I'd really encourage everyone to join a care group. I think that's, again, just one of the primary ways you can experience community. And it's hard to just kind of create community. And so being a part of a care group and slowly having this community organically grow, I think is going to be neat. The other is, I don't think I said this, but maybe I just kind of lightly alluded to it. But for a lot of people who feel like, boy, I'm not experiencing hospitality the way I'd like to. In other words, people aren't caring for me the way that I'd like them to. I would encourage them to just begin to practice hospitality toward others. So it's very often easy for us to think, man, this isn't a very friendly church because no one invites me out to dinner, no one comes over to my home or invites me over to their home. So I just encourage people, man, if you want our church to be a hospitable church, become a hospitable person. If it's a weakness in our church, you be part of the solution. So that'd be my encouragement to people, is just really proactively become a hospitable person. Don't think, I wish that person would invite me. Become a person that looks out and invites people, because there's probably 15 other people that are feeling the same way in terms of not having someone invite them the way that they like them to.
And it may be the very person sitting next to you in the theater. And you can make them feel loved by inviting them.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. Well, any other clarifications we need for our children after this?
Again, kudos kids for listening well. Some very creative interpretations. It's a good reminder for kids, get the whole context. You don't want to misunderstand the whole context of a message. But no, it shows a good sense of humor, finally developed sense of humor on the part of our kids, and some good listening skills. Keep me on my toes, kids. Keep me on my toes.
So with that, thanks for joining us on the Post Sunday app, and hope you have a great day.